We have made it.
We
We
do
are
it?
here. I mean, I think most of you probably thought that we didn't exist anymore. That we had hung up our towels and all of the things, and we had just retired from the prepping business. But we are not. We are here. Episode 77. Family holiday preps. This is going to be interesting. We're going to take a quick turn on this one.
Okay.
But we're here and we're excited to be here. It's been a rough couple of weeks. I know all of you have been watching us keep scheduling things and then canceling even more than usual, and it was my fault. It was all my fault. Unfortunately, right before Thanksgiving. By the way, I'm Casey with Cascadia Dispatch. Joining me as always is Tup the Urban Prepper, who had no idea any of this was about to happen because I didn't have time to tell him.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I made this topic of like family preps and planning for holidays.
Is this dated now? Is this?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, well, we'll just keep going. Oh, it'll be before Thanksgiving. It'll be whatever. You still want to prep for your holidays and everything, and we have a lot of holidays coming up, and there's a lot of family stuff, so we can get into that. Quick headline on why we had to move anything. Unfortunately, my mom got sick about 3 weeks ago, and unfortunately, she passed away on Monday night. And so we have been kind of doing all of the family things for the last 3 weeks. And then this week has been kind of getting ready for the funeral, which is not a fun thing. But this is a nice little distraction in my week. And today we got most of the planning done yesterday. The actual event is tomorrow. We have a couple of things to do today. But this was kind of the quiet day. So it kind of worked out to at least jump on for a few minutes and say hi to everybody. Let you all know that we have not totally left the building on the Prepping or Prep Talk Live or any of that. We will be back with our regularly scheduled, all of our stuff here probably next week, I would assume.
Yep.
And then I don't know when actually all the holidays are, so we'll probably move around a little bit for the Christmas holidays and stuff. But wanted to jump on and just say hi. And the family holiday thing it's an interesting thing. It carries a lot more interest to me in the last couple of weeks than I think it did originally. I've always felt like the holidays was a great time if you were getting together with family to talk about family prepping plans, to talk about emergency plans with your family, or get them involved if they weren't or whatever. This last couple of weeks has also been a good reminder to me as well as to everybody else that there are a lot of conversations that nobody wants to have. There are a lot of kind of, there's death and taxes are the only two things that are definite in the world or something like that. And a lot of people don't like talking about the end, and they don't like talking about what will happen in the end. And it can create a lot of confusion and a lot of ill will in families and all kinds of problems. And having those conversations, I think, is really important. We've had a lot of those difficult conversations in the last, I've had them throughout my life, but we've really actually been looking at the paperwork in the last couple of weeks, what people want to have done at the end and powers of attorney and medical directives and DNRs and all of that sort of stuff, which in those moments when you are the one that is having to make the choice, it is much better to have somebody else have already written that stuff down and made that decision for you. So you don't have to try to decide if keeping someone here is in their best interest or anything like that. So I would highly encourage everyone, if you haven't already, take a minute over the next few weeks, review all of that paperwork. If you don't have that paperwork, a will or an irrevocable living trust or advanced directives, power of attorneys, any of that sort of documentation, general estate planning sort of stuff. I feel like that's one of the ultimate preps. It kind of goes in the category of things that preppers don't like to make videos about. Of like, what is it? Fitness videos don't get a lot of clicks. Money videos don't get a lot of clicks, and like estate planning doesn't get a lot of clicks. So we'll hold up like a go bag while we're talking about it, or something like that. Maybe a backpack or some lighters or something. But I feel like it's really, really important to do that. And I would just encourage everyone, if you haven't already done it, to go ahead and do it. Review what you've got. If you don't know what you need, or if you don't even know where to start, go ahead and DM me. We just redid our personal ones a few months ago, but we've been dealing with it all this last week, so it's all kind of fresh in my head about things that would be important. Yeah, I don't write them up. I'm not an attorney, but I would, you get into estate planning attorney or something. But if you have questions about what specifically should be in that packet, or what specifically, you want to make sure is in that packet, definitely make sure you've got that. Make sure that people know where those are. So if you aren't able to communicate, if you are sedated, if you are in any way like that, that the people who would be making those decisions know who they are, know where the documents are, make sure that it's easy for them to find it. So anyway, and yes, I'm trying to be, jovial and everything else. It has been, don't mistake this smiling face for the, I've been crying on the floor for the last couple of days. So this is a very nice little distraction for me. And I'm going to put on a happy face here for the next, 15 or 20 minutes. And then, I'm going to go back to crying on the floor somewhere like that. But anyway, so yeah. So that's why we had to change a lot, because, Wednesday, my mom came home from the hospital. So we were doing that. We had the holidays. So there was a lot of me texting Top being like, hey, sorry, can't make it this day. Family emergency. And he would be like, okay, what's going on? And then I just haven't been able to be like, so let me tell you this amazing story of what has transpired in the last 3 weeks. So I appreciate that he's been kind of sticking around and hanging out with us for all of it.
I just found out, right before going on. It's
I wanted the real reaction. It was kind of like boxing, but for your emotions.
Jeez. I don't know what to say. It's really hard. My mom's still here, and it's really close with her. So that'd be, I don't know how you could stream after that, but I know that sometimes you need an outlet to during these times. My dad passed away back in 2016, and I know I needed some outlets a couple days after that happened just to keep it moving forward. But I'm terribly sorry, and it's it's hard.
It's not fun. And the other thing too is, every conversation I have with everyone is very sweet and very authentic, and everyone is like, what can I do? Can I do anything? And you get to this point where there's nothing that anybody can do. There just isn't a thing to do. There isn't and so it's this very weird kind of conversation that happens. And you kind of don't ever get in that spot until you're in the spot. And then it's wonderful to get the messages and to hear from people who knew her. And we have there's a bunch of people who are coming in for the funeral. It's kind of nuts. Just the people that are coming out from the woodwork who love my mom. So it's going to be an interesting, tomorrow's not going to be a fun day. Tomorrow is not going to be a great day to stream. So today is a better day to stream. That's what we're going to be doing.
I know that with my family members and people that are close, you always try to sit you before they go. When my mom comes over, I always say, I love you, because you never know, when these, something bad happens, and I don't want to regret that I never said that as the last thing. So
yes,
gosh, but yeah, it's really hard. So
yeah, the saying "I love you" at the end of every phone call or every message or all of those sorts of things. There's a lot of weird little stuff that you think of too, like iCloud passwords and things. Because she had lots of photos, that are on her phone, and she had music that she listened to and all that. And so making sure that you have the passwords to that written down so that somebody else can pick up your phone and get those pieces of information off for you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. My wife, for example, like something happened to me. She knows all my passwords because we have a certain system that we do for
mhm.
so there are different passwords for every account, but there's a trick to it type thing, and it still has a non like crackable type key or slug as they call it. But
Password 1234 is not uncrackable.
yeah, so yeah, it's not that, but uh, what was it? I was going to say something else though. Oh, geez, password. We were talking about
We're
password.
talking about passwords.
Talking about passwords.
Talking about
Phone.
passwords.
Oh yeah, I was gonna. My mom is. I don't have a Facebook account, and so my mom
Mhm.
is actually the runs the Urban Prepper like Facebook and some of the chat, some of the accounts that I have, and so I have access to those and stuff. So hope, so someday that'll I'll have to go through this too, and but I'll still have access to update her for Facebook profile if she wanted me to. So
Yeah, yeah. It's weird the things, especially like technologically, that we don't think about, like making sure that people have, that your email password is written down somewhere so that somebody can get in and get messages, cancel subscriptions and auto payments and things, because your credit card's still going to be active
mhm.
and auto pays are still going to happen, but like you maybe don't need that subscription anymore or something. So making sure that all of that stuff is readily available.
Yeah,
um yeah, the photo thing is a thing. Also, text messages, this is a thing. I don't know how nobody has come up with this yet. um but I haven't found a great way to take text messages and turn them into like a PDF or a Word doc or anything like that.
what do you
I,
mean?
so like one of the things, like my mom used to send me text messages all the time. And so one of the things I would like to do is archive all of those text messages
Yeah.
into a Word doc or a PDF or something, just so that I have them. She used to send lots of emojis for birthdays and all that kind of stuff. Um, and I haven't found a great way to just wholesale get that, connected to my phone or something.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, let me think about that.
which I think
There's
there's,
different. I was gonna look at my phone really quick because I have an app that exports and it probably imports, and I wonder if I could export to like a PDF or something. I still have, when my dad passed away, I still have our
yeah.
text threads and stuff too, and those things are important to keep. And
Yes, and like voicemails.
yeah,
That was another thing, and thank goodness for technology. Like if this had been like 10 or 15 years ago, like this would be a whole other thing. Um, I mean, with the video and everything else. But I realized, one of the things I realized is I have voicemails from my brother and I have voicemails from my dad. But my mom preferred to text, and I realized I didn't have a voicemail from her to keep and save. And so I started using the voice recorder on my phone in some of those, later days, when she was still able to talk and
hmm,
was coherent and all that, to just record some of the conversations. I have her voice in videos and all that sort of stuff. But there were a couple of things that I really wanted to hear her say. And so I was able to record those using my phone and then just have those. Um, and so that's I think another tip is using the technology to make sure that you can capture those moments and have those memories. It used to be that printing photos was the only way, and film was expensive, and you couldn't take. You were selective about what photos you would take. You were selective about what videos you would take and stuff. Now it's like, okay, take extra videos and photos or whatever. Like storage is cheap.
yeah. One of the I wonder if like if you could use some of the AI tips and stuff for some of this. But we
Hmm.
my father-in-law, we were just from Thanksgiving after Thanksgiving dinner, we were just sitting at the table and he was telling some of his old stories, and so we had him say some of those old stories and recorded it and then exported it to audio file and then
Hmm.
did a audio to text translation and then imported it into ChatGPT and said, hey, write the story out so it could be like as if it's part of a chapter of a book for this person's life thing. And then it just spitted it right out and it was awesome.
That is amazing.
So he's now like working on like telling his old stories, just talking about them, and then and then doing that process of the voice to text, and then the having ChatGPT do all the legwork for writing it out and putting it on paper, and then giving it to certain family members or people that were part of that story. That's what he's been doing since Thanksgiving, and I thought that was kind of a cool way of using some of the.
And then you turned it into an ebook and you put it on Amazon.
Yeah, no, he's
And
selling it.
that's
He's
yeah.
selling it. He's selling it.
Yeah, and that's how the Tech channel continues to run.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
off
it's
of
kind of funding everything,
yeah.
but I might want to do something similar with for with my mom and some of the stories that she knows from when she was a kid and stuff. So
Yeah, it's interesting too because there are lots of um, there's lots of things like family medical histories and things like that, and stories that used to be very difficult to keep track of, or you'd maybe know a generation, maybe two, and now with like the DNA tests that are out there, genetic
mhm.
tests, and all of those sorts of things, like you really can create your own, family archive of medical information and family memories and
Yeah,
things. Converting all of those old. I was just actually my one of my projects is scanning the photos that are going to be out on the tables and things, and a lot of them are older, paper photos and stuff. So making sure to be able to convert those from paper photos to digital, and then organizing it so that my kids and their kids can look back, and instead of having one photo of a great great grandmother or great great grandfather like I have, they've got a treasure trove of historical imagery and video, and really understand who these people were,
mhm.
um, and how that mattered. So
Yeah. I think it's all part of prepping. I think too, but it's not. It's not the fun stuff. That's
it's not the fun sexy part. It's
no.
not the
You're not going to get views, or you're not going to get
no.
free products or anything like that. So
No, it's not this. I got this thing I was going to talk about at one point, like 3 weeks ago when we first were going to do this. Um, it's called a fire strip roll. It's one
oh
of those things like I found on TikTok. I don't know if it actually works as it says, but it looks like that fruit by the foot or the
yeah, it
bubble
does.
gum,
It's like a fruit roll up type thing.
but it's like a resin wood, balsa wood thing, and so you pull it out and then you just like make a strip, kind of bunch it up, and it becomes a fire starter.
Okay.
So anyway, so I was like, oh, well, that's kind of a fun thing. Like those are fun prepping things,
Yeah.
not like, do you want a feeding tube? Like that's not a fun prep, but it's kind of an important one,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. It's
I
well,
also appreciate that you're wearing black. I wore my black prepper Jason sweatshirt in
I
honor
didn't
of
know.
this.
That's just I typically wear the same type of outfit, and I have like a whole bunch of the same black shirts just because I don't like having to think. Well, what am I going to wear today? I just like repeating the same overall look. So,
Yeah, the decision paralysis is a thing. I always used to think that it was funny that Mark Zuckerberg
yeah, doesn't he
always had
do
like
like
the
the same
thing.
T-shirt and jeans?
Yeah, and I was like, that's really weird. And now I find myself doing the exact same thing.
Yeah,
It's like
I could totally get
white
that.
T-shirt and jeans and a sweatshirt,
I
and
mean, I
just
always have a hat usually in some kind of
Mhm.
button-up shirt is usually what I have. So
Yeah. Um. Okay, so we know my holiday was really interesting. How was your holidays? I'm hoping better than mine.
better than yours for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a. I mean, I thought I already said about the ChatGPT, like
Yeah.
documenting story stuff.
I wonder if you could use AI to come up with illustrations for the stories.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the next thing. You could probably even make a comic book if you wanted to about it.
Hmm.
So uh, it, it's pretty fascinating, all that kind of stuff. I use it almost daily now for random things, and as a personal assistant. And they're probably making some robot version of me somewhere.
Probably.
Some deep fake that'll start cranking out videos once a day type thing. Uh, let's see. Did I do anything prepping related for Thanksgiving? Uh, Not really. We making our after we cook the turkey, we make like a turkey stock for with the pressure canner and everything. So that's part of the new thing that we do with the carcass.
Hmm.
And usually my sister-in-law does it, but uh, and then but we it's my carcass and she does the legwork, and then I reap some of the rewards for it. Let me think what other prep stuff that I did.
It's always good to remind her whose carcass it is.
Yeah, well, that's my carcass. I I bought
Yeah.
it. I baked it. I cooked it, and I fed everyone. So
Yeah. um,
let's see, anything else? Just kind of updating some pantry stuff. This updating a couple little car kit things like for food in the car because I thought our car food was like lacking. I thought so. I kind of have
mhm.
more of a tiered system now that I like a little bit better. I'll eventually make the video. But yeah, I was working on that a
What
little bit.
is it like? Snacks, meals,
Yeah,
and
well,
things, or is
yeah,
it
so
like economy class and first class?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, no, it's like a snacks meal. So like I
mhm,
have like a lunch box just filled with like, you know, grab and go snacks. Kind of like what I do for my bug out bags now too. But ones
mhm,
that can stay in the car, and I had to do some research on which ones do the best with temperature fluctuations that might happen in the vehicles. And having that because there's been some times where I was driving and I didn't have a good snack, like and I didn't want to open up an MRE or something. Like so I just wanted like some sunflower seeds or something. So I got that locked in. Now I have these lunch boxes that are in the car that are for that. But then also like if you're on a road trip or something, that might not
mhm,
cut it. Like if you're broken down on the side of the road, and so did additional research on what what for that, and I eventually settled on. I didn't want to have a bunch of MREs in there because I don't. I think. Like my kids, I don't think would just like start. Oh, great MREs. So I went with more of like I've been often doing some additional testing for like what stove to keep in your car, and I felt more
mhm.
comfortable with like an alcohol based stove than a propane stove. And so I thought so for that kit, it's like just in a plastic tote that has soups and instant mac and cheese and hot meals that will be
Oh,
good for
okay.
morale. But if you're on the side of the road for a while, so
Yeah. Oh, we've got a question. Okay.
Tup,
So,
you made a video that the number one EDC item for is a multi for urban, yeah. I am
yeah.
curious what would be number 2 and 3. Oh, geez.
Great question.
Yeah, so I'm gonna exclude like a cell phone then because we all need a cell phone for sure.
I feel like that. Yeah, I feel like that should. Now, would that be number one, or would the multi tool be number one?
Well, I just kind of discounted like what I call core items, so like
Hmm.
wallet, phone, keys. Like
Oh, okay.
I just kind of excluded those. Those are kind of like
Got it.
man. But I like if you only could pick one, like I call them my EDC tools.
Yeah.
If you could only pick one, which one would you bring for specific for an urban environment? So yeah, tier two, I guess. Uh, I I think for me, if I had a multi tool, I like having my flashlight, and
Hmm.
that's probably my second one. It's just well multi-purpose. It's better than the little torch that you have on your cell phone. So
Yeah.
I'd probably go flashlight, and to be honest, I think most preppers would say knife, but I'm gonna go pen uh,
Oh,
for
okay.
urban purposes. It's
Hmm.
you. I rarely use my knife in night fights anymore. It's just it's not even though I'm in Seattle, it's not I haven't been in a good knife fight for a little bit, but I use the pen almost daily. And so,
Back in the day when you were doing the underground knife fighting
yeah,
thing.
back
Yeah.
in the day, I
Yeah.
was doing a lot more knife fights, especially with all the
Hmm.
trolls on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Exactly. As you do.
hey, meet me at the corner of
Yeah.
Seneca Street in Seattle. And so I meet and we duke it out with the knives and stuff. But
Of
I think
course.
the pen is I would probably put pen number three just for urban environment. Now, if you're in a rural environment, yeah, you
Yeah.
don't want to. You probably go knife first, I'd imagine, and then like lighter, and then
You're not
yeah,
going to write down the name of the cougar that is
yeah, you're not
aggressive.
gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Right.
don't. Yeah, it's lower but for urban specific for EDC purposes, not for like bug out bag. I would probably so I'd stack rank it again: multi tool, flashlight, then pen for urban purposes.
All right.
Knife is a little bit down the road because usually with your multi tool you have like a utility blade.
Yeah. I also would make the distinction in the pen thing. I like that. Sharpie versus like a ballpoint pen.
Yeah, for me, ballpoint pen. I mean, if you're at,
Really?
at a restaurant, like a Fisher Space pen,
Okay.
if you're at a restaurant, and you're signing your bill, you're not using a Sharpie,
Okay.
uh,
Yeah. I guess EDC
unless you're a big
wise.
weirdo,
Yeah.
like I guess, or a crayon or something.
Stop judging me. Stop judging me for the fact that I
Or
have
like
the
if you're at the
extreme weather.
bank, you're not going to use a Sharpie, or
I
but
just bring paint pens with
I
me
do think
everywhere I
Sharpies
go.
are good to have for. I mean, I EDC it in my messenger bag for sure,
Hmm.
because like if you can write on walls with them if if
Yeah.
you have to really evacuate, like a big arrow, go this way. This is,
Hmm.
or I still have the hobo sign sheet in my
Hmm.
some of my kits, but like also for like a medical thing, like if someone was they broke their arm or whatever, you could write like their medical conditions on their arm. It won't
Yeah.
rub off. So I think it has a lot of purpose. But I haven't had to do that in actuality, but I have had to use the pen for so many different things. So.
You haven't need to show where the wound was after
No,
one of
I
the
haven't
knife
had to do
bites.
that. I haven't had to
Yeah.
do that.
Okay. It's just obvious to everyone. Oh wait, it's coming from there. Okay.
Yeah. So
Fantastic. Yeah.
we used one a little bit ago with my son. He had this weird rash or bump thing, and we wanted to keep track. He was like he was like the stinger of a bee or of a yellow jacket or wasp, one of those a-hole bees.
Yeah.
It was like stuck in him for a while, and he pulled it out, and it was like really. So we traced the circle to see if it was growing or whatever. But
That's always a good
that's when
idea.
it came in handy. But that doesn't happen as often as paying for your bill and using a pen for that, or going to the bank and
Yeah.
using your pen for that, or being at work and writing a note down, or all those kind of things. So yeah. Long story
Yeah.
short, Andrew,
Ballpoint pen.
multi-tool, flashlight, pen. Final answer.
Very fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I feel like that was a good. Like, I feel like we
Was that pretty?
started on we dipped down.
It's
And
kind of
I feel
it's
like we
kind of a
splashed back up.
darker episode. Like it's hard to do our same kind of jokes and stuff when stuff like this is going on. But I think we're doing the best we can.
Yeah, we're doing the best we can, and we had great information.
Yeah.
And now I have to go and frame photos. So it's been a fun time. I've enjoyed the distraction. Thank you all for joining us.
Yes.
We'll be back next week with more fun things. Actually, about like I don't know, we'll bring backpacks or something fun and exciting or something. And but thanks everybody for joining. Thank you for your wonderful comments. I saw the chat was chatting up as usual. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that. So thanks for joining us on this
No,
emotional unboxing episode that we didn't really know
It's
was
a
going to
tough one.
happen.
It's a tough one. We'll tune in next week and we'll see.
Yeah, we'll be back to normal-ish.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe,
as it is.
maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we'll postpone it 6 or 7 times just so that everyone's ready for it.
Yeah.
But all right, everyone. Well, thanks for joining us. Hit the like button if you can. That would be great, or whatever. And we'll see you next Wednesday, at the normal time. Thanks, everybody.